Okay, so just want to go over a quick kind of tutorial on how to put together the Daytona jack skid plate and mount and extension and jack handle, which will come kind of as you see here. So these are the actual mounts for the handle holder. These are the quick fist mounts, which you can get on the website, and you'll be able to buy them separately or together depending how you want to do that. And this is a prototype, so it may be ever so slightly different. This is going to look a tiny bit different, but is going to function pretty much the same. But if you order everything, it'll all come in a box, all separate, all together, or separate depending how you want to order it and what you want to order. This is the actual skid plate for the jack, and this is the mount for the jack, which is steel, so you can weld it onto your cage if you want, or you can drill holes and bolt it down. It's completely up to you how you want to mount this, but it's very sturdy as it is, and you'll be able to mount it however you want in your car, however you need to. I guess I should go over the tools. You won't need too much. I use this as a spreading tool. This is a 6mm Allen, long reach one. Also need a 10mm Allen. This is a 4mm Allen actually. And then this is a 5/32 Allen. I have a screwdriver, flathead screwdriver, wrench, I have an electric wrench, and an impact. Just make things easier. If you don't have them, you don't need them. Extension, 3/4 inch socket, and a 1/4 inch 7/16 socket. And then these to the side for a second. So for the quick fist mounts, which are the jack handle mounts, they will come with 1/4-20 button head bolts and nuts. They may end up having a slightly longer bolt and including washers. Again, this is prototype, so we'll see when you order for production. Things may slightly change. You'll get at least 4 bolts and 4 nuts. All these are stainless, so they won't rust. And they just slide together very easily. And then put your bolts through. And these guys, you can actually mount in a couple different ways. But these, very easy to put together. However you want to install them, I made put holes in the bottom so you can actually bolt them down to a flat plate. You can put a hose clamp through here to hose clamp it to a tube. You can weld it directly to a tube, weld it to plate, wherever you want. These are steel as well, as just like the mount, so your options are pretty open as how you can mount these in your vehicle. These are just rubber, so you don't need to go crazy on over tightening those. So there you go. That's these put together. Super easy. And then you can actually, your handle, go in there and put this guy on. It's a lot easier once these are actually mounted, but that's how it will lock it in. And if you want to mount these separately, you can buy 2 sets, or if you want to mount it with these together, then you only need 1 set to actually mount these if you have the space. Just kind of depends on your application. So these will come with the pole pin either disconnected or either installed or uninstalled. I don't know for sure. We'll see. I probably will just install them, but I want to keep these from rusting in one way or another. We'll have a light coating wipe down in WD-40, but that won't last forever, so we don't want to paint them or do something else. Put this aside for now. And then your skid plate is going to come with these, which we'll check. These are M10 by 125, and it's going to come with 6 of them. They're just to make sure, because Harbor Freight, the sizing can vary, and I just want to make sure you guys have the right size bolts. They're also going to come with lock washers, which I don't have here right now, but they will come with those in the kits. And they'll also come with these 2, which are, as you can see, much smaller. These are M6 by 1, and it also, these will also come with lock washers. And then the actual skid. But to install that, this is how your Harbor Freight Daytona jack will come. You'll need to do some minor disassembly to actually get this in. One thing, which is why I have these options available, is that at least on this one, this bar and the axle for the front caster put the frame slightly out of parallel. The front was about a 1/16 wider than it is here at the back. So I need these to be parallel to work with the mount and skid combo. So that's why you can either buy this replacement frame support that is the right width, or you can grind yours to fit. And this front axle you'll need to turn down in a lathe, and I'll show you what that looks like if you have a lathe. And if you don't, then again you can buy the front axle from me, and that way you can put this together without needing any specialty tools. Start with pulling off casters. Little tray to keep your stuff from getting away from you. As you can see here, there are 3 bolts that hold this caster mount on per side, so we're going to take those off. And these bolts right here for this cross frame pin also have to get removed. So this is the frame cross pin. This one is very easy to take the length down. Mine, I had to take off 30 thousandths of an inch per side to get the right spacing. I don't know if yours will be the same. Again, I've only dealt with one of these jacks. I haven't dealt with a bunch of them, so I don't know if they're all going to be the same. I would assume they are, but you can either purchase this from the website or grind yours down if you have the capability. This is the reason for long wrench. You can do this with just a normal 90-degree hand Allen. If that's all you have, that's what you can do. I have these, which is nice, because this, I'll show you guys actually, it's very close right there, so you can't put a normal socket like this because it won't work. So and if yours are all the same as mine, which I assume they are, there's going to be 4 short bolts for these frame mounts, these back two, just because it's harder to get a longer bolt in there because of this recess. But you can get a longer one in there, which are the ones I supply. It's just a little tight. And then you also need to remove these bottom 2 pump bolts because they're going to be in the way for the skid plate to slide onto the actual jack. But leave the upper one, that one can stay. So again, 2 shorts and 1 longer one. These are 20 mil versus 25 mil length. That's going to sit right there. Oh. And then to take the front axle out, 2 more of these bolts. Okay. Sometimes not want to loosen one side, so that's where your spreader comes in. You're going to need it either way. Spreads the frame apart, allows you to remove the front axle. You may need some sort of pliers, which be careful with because you don't want to mess up anything to hold that from spinning. There we go. You see the lock washers do their job. Get that out. Here's the front caster and the axle for the caster. On mine, and again it may be different on yours, I'll provide the actual dimensions needed, but mine was, I had to take 37 thousandths of an inch, so 0.037 on the overall and on the actual shoulder. Shorten the whole thing overall to get this to make the frame parallel the whole way. So this one's already length, but these two guys will be options if you don't have access to a lathe or can't make these the right size yourself. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back in now. And one thing to look out for, at least on mine, there were some metal shavings in here. If you're not careful and those jam up in between the two, the caster won't want to spin freely. So just look out for those. And you may have to clean them out to make sure this spins nice. And I'm done with that guy. Doesn't need to be crazy tight, but tight enough. See, it still spins, even though the frame is a little bit narrower. Alright, so now it's almost ready to put into the skid, but first, I know they're not shown here, but from here to here, there'll be 2 springs, and they help collapse the jack when you relieve pressure, or when you. But they are moved already. I already threw them away. Again, this isn't perfect. This example of what you will see, but it's as close as I could get. And yeah, already took the springs out, but the springs will need to be removed because the skid gets too close to the bottom here and would interfere with the springs. So remove those 2. You maybe need some needle nose pliers, so forgot that. But again, needle nose pliers, and you should be able to remove those pretty easily. Now, jack is ready to put into the skid. Which just sits in there, and this one is a little tight. It is a prototype, so I made some slight design changes, and the production ones, which you will be getting when you place an order, will fit much better and won't be this tight. Mine takes a little bit of love with a hammer. And then sits into place. Take your frame crossbar with your new longer M6 bolts and lock washers. The And don't use power tools to get it started. Make sure it's lined up and goes in nice. They're small bolts. You can mess up the threads. Once they're started though, you have your whatever tool you like and run it in, but be careful, don't over tighten these. You'll strip out the actual Allen drive or strip the threads if you over tighten it. And then I recommend you use the factory 25mm bolts with lock washers. Again, they will be enough lock washers. I'm scavenging some for mine, but use the longer 25mm bolts to actually attach the frame of the jack to the pump body, not these shorter ones which I'm going to use now, just because I don't have all the hardware available to me yet, but you guys when you buy them will have all the hardware. Again, start everything by hand. Do not use power tools to get things started, or you'll have a bad day, most likely. Now you can put frames on for the caster mounts. So with the springs removed, so even though you relieve tension on the pump, you still have to push down on the actual platform to get it to go down because the springs aren't pulling it down. And this is where the longer hardware and lock washers that I will provide come in handy. And as you'll see, it's a tight fit. They will go in. You may have to apply some force or lightly tap them to get in, but they will go in. There you go. And now the actual skid plate is completely attached to the jack. You can see it fits very nicely. Need it to try and look as clean as possible, and fits around the handle. So now you can put the rear casters on. which Harbor Freight did a nice job of indexing the casters in there, so you don't need any thin wrenches to keep the caster from spinning as you tighten it. It just tightens right on. So just look for that hex and line up that hex. Makes it very nice. So now you have a jack that functions just like normal, but can be used in sand or dirt or mud or anything that the jack originally would sink down into because there isn't enough surface area. Now you got a nice beefy piece of 3/16 on the bottom, some nice pretty welds, and that's what makes this so versatile. Take this out of the way for a second. Bring back the jack mount. Show you how that works. Very simple. Front caster just rolls right in. I grab it right by here and then pull the pull pin, set it in, and now the jack is locked into the mount. Can't come out until you pull this pin, pull up, and then you can pull the whole jack out of the mount. And that is how the jack, skid, and mount go together. Now I will show you the actual extension, which is another option you can buy, designed to function just like the normal jack pad does, and totally safe, and add an extra extension so you can lift a vehicle that has bigger wheels and tires on it and is higher off the ground than just a normal car or SUV. So you pull off a little rubber pad, and then there's going to be a jack pad nut that holds the pad on. It's not crazy tight, maybe a little bit tighter than that, but again, this is a prototype, so I've taken it apart a couple times. And then you'll need your flat blade screwdriver to remove the pin. That just comes right out. And then this guy comes apart. And you need to do that so you can actually mount the base onto the jack. And then again, you reuse this nut. This is where the extension comes in. This is a 10 mil Allen. Again, start it by hand. Don't want to mess up those threads. Line up the extension to make it nice and square. And grab the wrench. And tighten that down. Now this guy cannot turn, it is locked in place. The extension comes with another nut that you'll need exactly the same as the factory one. Slide this in, take your pin, put the pin through, and one difference you'll notice on the production ones is this is just going to have one hole, and this lip is going to be almost a 1/4 inch taller. This piece will have the multiple holes for different positions in it. This is just, again, prototype how that comes. So you can have your pin holding it in the lowest lift position, or you can come all the way up to the highest lift position, depending on what you need for your application. that is locked in. Take your factory jack pad, set that right on top, grab your nut, turn it by hand. That's nice and tight. Put your rubber pad back on. And now your extension is installed and your jack pad is free to move just like factory. And then if you need to change the height, grab whatever you have available, flathead screwdriver, that's what I like to use, take that off. If you can do that by hand, good on you. I can't. Put that guy in, whatever position you need, lock it back in place, and you have an additional extension for your jack. And that is all the parts put together and installed. Hopefully that should be pretty straightforward for you guys. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. Get in contact with me via email, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you guys may have. Alright, thanks.